Welcome to the Lay Fun Guys podcast. As a reminder, we're available on YouTube and across your favorite podcast channels, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and many more. I'm Samir. I got my co-host Mark.
What's up?
Mark, let's get straight into it. End of the game. Mark Scheifele, dirty hit on Jake Evans.
Yeah, obviously, and that was, and whoever's saying first of all that he should have kept his head up, like fuck off. It's not bullfighting. That was just a totally useless hit. He didn't go for the puck. He went straight for the player. Came from across the other end of the rink just to smack him, to teach him a lesson for scoring into an empty net. He was clearly on tilt. You could see it in his face, and understandably so. He was shithoused the whole game. We'll talk about this later, but he had some prime opportunities where he got owned, and he clearly wasn't feeling good about himself. And he made Evans pay the price. It's just unfortunate. He has a concussion history now. And what a way to spend your 25th birthday. It's supposed to be celebratory. Milestone 25, first playoff goal, and Scheifele made him pay the price. I certainly hope he's suspended. It obviously for multiple games. It obviously won't be for more than 5, but has to be 3 to 5 games. I'll say 4 games is what he did. He's a good player. Doesn't have a history. I get that, but that was just a real dirty ass play, and he should get a few games for that, no doubt.
Mark, this is absolutely unacceptable in the league. Any type of headshot should be condoned. There's no reason for any of these type of plays. Let's talk about the hit. So he's skating down the zone. Jake Evans clearly ahead of every Jet player. On his way to complete the wraparound. Scheifele knows there's no chance of stopping him from scoring. So he decides to level him onto the ice, shoulder straight to the head. It was completely unnecessary. He could have stopped. He could have slowed down. He could have changed directions. He chose to do the dirtiest play. And I think this was what the Jets wanted to do. You look at the first period goal that Corey Perry passed to Eric Stahl. He got by Stanley. He got elbowed in the head. That wasn't called. So I think that this was some part of their hit really hard. And I think there's a line that you can definitely have to know as a player not to cross, and Scheifele crossed that line. It's kind of unfortunate because Jake Evans was such a strong part of our run so far, and
he's a revelation, Samir. He really stepped it up this playoff. He started to show signs. Remember that game against Edmonton, the second to last game of the season, where he broke out with Byron and Lekkonen. And they missed his. He didn't play. I believe it was games 3 and 4 against the Leafs. They missed him. He came back. He propelled them over the top. So he was a big part of that. And to get
exactly.
his goal.
And what surprises me the most is Mark Scheifele. I mean, he's had a couple of injuries against him from bad plays. Most notably the Matthew Tkachuk, where he injured his leg. So I'm really shocked that Mark Scheifele would actually be this kind of player. It's set for a phone hearing. That's what I understood is it's 5 or less games. I think he should get all 5. I hope they break precedent and actually give him more. But we all know playoff games are very valuable, and suspensions don't come easy. However, Mark, look at Nazem Kadri. He got 8 games.
Yeah.
So there is some. I mean, Nazem Kadri is a repeat offender, but there's got to be some sort of amount of just drawing the line in the sand and say, "God, this is unacceptable. We're not going to take this as a league." And it's very
especially NHL has a history of liking to see, okay, the player
doesn't have any clear-cut guidelines. Yeah. That's the problem, and they just kind of make it up as they go. And you know what? Like, I am not opposed to what the New York Rangers said. I think that the league needs to take a hard look at who's responsible for these type of decisions, and maybe find a replacement, and find something that's a little bit more analytical and can be and can be quantified and come up with a new system
Well,
here.
we saw Weber at the end of the day, if the NHL and the Rangers did this too, if the NHL doesn't draw a hard line, the players will. And we saw Weber how upset he was on the ice. Edmonton said after they're going to make his life miserable when he comes back. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to have what's coming at the end of the day. You could see Scheifele felt like shit after it. I think he realized it once he was off that he fucked up. But anything less than look, have non-bias. Anything less than 3 games is unacceptable. He needs a multi-game suspension in that sense. And yeah, and hopefully Habs can sweep the Jets.
Well,
We beat him
we'll find
before.
out. We'll definitely find out later today, and that hit definitely overshadowed a 4-game winning streak for the Habs.
First time
And
this season, unreal.
first time this season. And you know what's interesting is it's happened. These 4 games happen in the playoffs where Price has been playing exceptional hockey.
Yeah.
Again, last night he really that one timer that he stopped on Scheifele was actually super frustrating. Reminded me of the Marner save in the first round. Habs come out on top in shots in the
And
face-off.
Samir, on that block, on that cross I saved by Price, for me that was a key turning point because at that point in the game, it's 3-1, right? Habs hadn't scored 3 games in the playoffs one period the whole year, so you're up 3-1. But if Winnipeg gets that goal there, Scheifele scores, it's 3-2 heading into the second. It's a totally different game. Instead, they have that 2-goal cushion the whole game, so they could just play their style of hockey, and it's going to be very difficult to come back from. Well, the Leafs obviously did it, but I mean that's a situation the Habs want to be in, having a 2-goal advantage as much as possible. So that was a really big save.
Special teams came through as well, Mark. 1 for 4 on the power play. They only took 6 penalty minutes, so 3 against. Their penalty kill was sound. They did lose in terms of number of hits. And I think the Jets, that's part of their game, is to play physical. And I think that's what Scheifele was playing into. Unfortunately, took the wrong turn. But they were demonstrating that they were playing physical all game, where the Habs was a strong point for them against the Leafs. Seems to be they need to get back into that zone. And maybe a guy like Romanov can help there. When the coach Ducharme was asked today if Romanov will enter the lineup since Gustafsson sat after that turnover that led to the shorthanded goal, he said anything's possible. So I really like to see Romanov in. I don't know what's holding him back. Definitely a guy that could really add some oomph to the lineup.
Certainly, but I think really, I mean, Romanov will play, or whoever it is, 10 to 15 minutes. The reason for success for the Montreal Canadiens win was really exploiting the defense. I brought that up as a key point prior to game 1. And we saw it particularly on the goal where Eric Stahl scored. Logan Stanley, he's shithouse. Bottom pair defenseman. He went for the hit, and Corey Perry was smart enough, pass it across him, had the empty net. That's going to be the only way to beat Connor Hellebuyck is being in those prime scoring chances. We saw how he stoned Armia on the breakaway. Hellebuyck's a top goalie, so really taking advantage of a leaky Jets D getting in those prime scoring chances. Nick Suzuki really did that too. But what an amazing goal. He waited out the defenseman Forborth, who did a fine play actually, but where was the other defenseman there? And actually the real turning point in that play was Edmondson's pass cross ice, went through 3 Jets players. So that was a great play by him. He had an excellent game overall, but really that Jets D is going to be something.
Edmondson is that one of the Habs unsung heroes this entire playoffs. He's been playing exceptional hockey, even against the Leafs. I think he's still a plus player. This is why they brought him in, right? And I think he's exactly demonstrating his value during this run. And I think a guy like Romanov can easily replace the 10 minutes that Gustafsson or Kulak have been playing. If you're going to control the minutes and run your big 4, then a guy like Romanov should be in the lineup, in my opinion.
If you're worried about Romanov making mistakes, well, Gustafsson makes plenty too, right? So it's a trade-off, and you get that physicality in. So I would expect them to make that change. Now's really the time. I don't know how much longer Ducharme has to wait. Even though you don't want to mess with a winning lineup. They'll clearly have to though to replace Evans.
So we'll be back after game 2, which is going to be tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. But Mark, before we head off this one, Colorado's up 2-0 on Vegas.
Yeah, I mean that was a key goal. You heard the coach say in overtime that was a weak penalty to give. I mean I kind of agree. Like it's overtime. Like you give a team like Colorado power play, they're going to take advantage. And
That McKinnon little dirty dangle plus
yeah,
passing it back to Rantanen and then waiting and then just beating Marc-Andre Fleury is scary. And whoever's facing either of those two teams in the next round, be it the Jets or Habs, are going to have a very tough time.
but yeah, like you saw it with McKinnon, like you win with strong center depth, and the Canadians are on the way there. We saw what KK, what a game he played on that first goal, playing along the boards, went straight to the net, stick on the ice, taps it home. Suzuki with the deke. So Canadians are there. These are young kids. They're not at the McKinnon level yet, but that 1-2 punch, they have a potential to be there. And hopefully we'll be playing the Avalanche in the next round if things hold up this way.
Absolutely. So we'll be back on Friday. See you then.
Ciao.
Go Habs, go.